ABC Bullion is excited to present the 2025 Precious Metals Forum, Gold and the New World Order, which will be held on August 19th at the Ivy Ballroom in Sydney. This year's forum will be headlined by globally renowned precious metals expert Jim Rickards, an investment banker, economist, and New York Times best-selling author. The forum will also feature other keynote speakers, including Wayne Bramwell, CEO of West Gold, and ABC Refinery's very own Nicholas Frappel, our global head of institutional markets. I'm joined by Nick today to talk through some of the themes that we're going to explore in detail on the evening. Nick, great to see you.
Yeah, you too, Jordan. It's going to be really interesting to talk in August because, really since pretty much the president election and certainly since the inauguration, we've lived through some really uncertain times, both domestically and of course, for us in Australia and the world with regard to the US foreign policy, trade policy, all kinds of things going on. If anything, the uncertainty has sort of stacked up and increased, and I think that's a big part of the gold story now. So, you and I have looked at, things like real yields, inflation, crude, all kinds of ways of looking at gold and the pricing of gold, but actually it doesn't seem to be all about uncertainty right now, and that mounting uncertainty, what's going on, this week in the Middle East. Pretty sure that won't be resolved by the time you and I are on stage in Sydney, but also trying to tease out whether there's a method behind all of this. You've got people in the administration who, want a lower dollar, want, how are they tackling debt, which I think is obviously another big driver of gold at the moment. There's so much to talk about.
I couldn't agree more, Nick. I mean, certainly if you look at what we've seen here at ABC Bullion this year, there's near record levels of client growth, demand, really healthy two-way flow. So, precious metals are clearly well and truly back on the map as an asset class, which is no surprise given the price strength and some of the dynamics that you've spoken about. The evening itself is set to be really fantastic. Obviously you're delivering a keynote, we've got a couple of other keynotes. We're also going to have a panel session. It should be great.
Absolutely. And one of the things I remember you talking about when we did this 2 years ago, you mentioned that I think investors weren't super, highly positioned for a bull run. We've since then had a massive bull run, which shows every signs that it could continue. But what's really interesting is now, just as then, there really isn't any signs of investors being overextended. So that's kind of good for the market, I think, for the same reasons that you discussed, 2 years back.
And of course, we've got Jim Rickards, who's been a real mainstay of the precious metal community and a friend of ABC Bullion for many years. He has a long history talking through, the investment case for gold. And I think that's as relevant today as it's ever been.
Yeah, and obviously, Jim's bullish views have been proven, very correct, especially this year. But also what I think is really interesting about listening to Jim, last time I heard him listen, he's got a really kind of out of the box way of thinking about gold and talking about gold in that kind of macro perspective and saying, well, this is why it would make sense for gold to be a much higher value. And that's something that, I really noticed a lot of the people in the audience took away.
Couldn't agree more, and can't wait to host the event on the 19th and welcome all of our clients at ABC Bullion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be a fantastic evening for them.